Darts. Broken darts. Happens every once in a while. Pop the heads off. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Depends. Sometimes you get just your darts. Sometimes you find just your heads. Go through enough of these, I like to keep broken stuff because you never know what you can use it for. But a little bit of Elmer's school glue and you can glue them back together again. That is, if you find enough of the heads and enough of the foam. But let's say you don't have any tips. What do we do now? Well, I put my mind to it. I came up with this little contraption. See if I can get this one I did earlier to release. I create a small little mold here so I can cast my own dart tips. Now, I don't know if this is completely legal for competition gameplay, but just messing around in the house, around the yard. Gives you a couple extra darts to play around with. Took me a couple tries to figure out exactly how to get this work right. There are some failures, but I worked through the bugs. Hopefully you don't have problems. Oh, come on. Still, I find a better substance than wood. Here he comes. A little bit of dart head. Look at there. The mold is pretty simple. It's just a scrap piece of wood. Drill a hole, and top piece I used here is just a scrap piece of pegboard. Seems like the hole in the pegboard is about the right size for the diameter of a dart. Also, a 1/4-inch dowel rod is same size as well. So I'm going to now show you a quick, easy little demo on how to actually make your own little mold and cast your own dart tips. And I've already kind of done one side of this and pre-drilled my starting point on this to make this a little quicker. You want to be careful on how far you drill in, because the deeper you drill in, the thicker the head on your dart will be. If you're concerned about weight, or if you want to try fine-tuning your darts, you can actually create larger heads or smaller heads, depending on how you're feeling. Drill yourself a little, about 1/4 inch deep. I'm not for sure what size drill bit this is. I just grabbed the largest one I had on me. And it kind of stinks because my good drill bits are on loan, so I had to find that in a pile of loose drill bits. So I'm going with what I got for right now. Little Dremel tool, round bit head on it. Even out all the corners in it and make it a little smooth so it gives a little shape. I'm going with a round shape. If you're wanting to be more creative, you could shape this piece any way you wanted to and come up with different shapes of heads for darts. I think I want to drill that out just a little bit more. That's better. Now smooth that out just a little bit. Take yourself a little sandpaper, go over the top, get any burrs off. You want to get as decent of a seal between this piece and your top piece so you don't get any burrs around the edge of your head, your tip. Now, real important part when coming up to casting is you need something to allow it to release from the mold, or it's going to stick and cause some serious issues and probably tear up your head on your dart that you're trying to make. So first off, use a little candle here. I'm going to melt just a little bit of wax in here to fill any little bitty holes, any voids, because wood is slightly porous. I'm just using this to fill any little gaps and such in the wood. And it's not real important that it's not really going to stay in there. You're going to work it in there a little bit so it smooths out the hole. Now all the little edges are smooth down. When you're creating your block, also make sure to give you an orientation mark and a side mark so you know how it all goes together, so you don't end up getting it flipped around backwards and your little tab on here is off on the side and you have a crooked dart. So I forgot to plug my glue gun in. So my glue gun is not warmed up quite yet. What I use for a release agent, just some good old-fashioned WD-40. Can't go wrong. Don't be bashful with it, trust me. In there and get it good and wet. Also make sure get the bottom side of your tab piece, because your backside of your dart head will actually fit up against this side of it. You need that to release. And also inside here. And not putting wax on this. I might come across a problem with this. I'll just get it good and soaking wet and hope for the best. Even if this side does fail, I know the other side is working still. So once you get her good and oiled up, put your cast together. Now you don't necessarily have to make a two cast like this. And you could just make a single one, or you could get a larger piece of pegboard and make a one that does 4, 5, 6, however many you want. You happen to have access to the foam, you could honestly cut your own darts and start mass producing your own custom tips if you wanted to. Alright, glue gun's warmed up. Let's go ahead and just stick the nozzle of the glue gun in there. And come on. Because you want to make sure you get the whole thing filled up. And don't be shy. Put yourself a little glob on top. Because as it cools, it'll actually shrink a little bit. And we'll pull some of the hot glue back down into the mold, and this will keep from coning into your dart tip. So once that's cast, we want to go ahead and let that sit for a little bit and let it cool. For the sake of time, I'm just going to pause video real quick here until it cools off and restart whenever I'm ready to release and see what we got. Alright, it's been a couple minutes and let the glue cool. Get yourself a little sharp blade, it's long enough to go across. Cut that little ball off. Make sure you get it down to the wood. I probably should have left these on. Don't know how exactly cool they got. Oh. And gently give it a little rock. And bloop, look at there. Now on the other side, 1/4-inch dowel rod. Now push up and through. Pop them out. And there's 2 new tips. As you can see, I'm using colored hot glue, glitter in it, because why not? You have access to it, you can use that, or just your plain old white will work. I made up some red ones earlier, red on green. And all I really need to do is just glue them into your foam, and there you go. Should load up really nicely and look real pretty sticking out the front of your gun. I will do a test firing with these at a later date after I get a little bit more foam, so I actually have enough to do a decent test with them and get the tips glued on as well. These are not glued on, but that's that.